Hi, I'm Christian Triola, author of The Missing Method for Guitar Books. And in this, Reading the Riff, number 11, I'm going to show you how to play that riff, the riff from Crazy Train. But before we get started, make sure you download that PDF. It's got the arrangement of Crazy Train that we'll be talking about today. It's got it in notation and tab form, so whichever one you prefer to do, you can check it out. I recommend trying to read the notes. That's kind of the point of the Reading the Riff, but hey, whatever works for you, go for that. Also, don't forget to go to the website, themissingmethod.com. And when you're there, not only can you check out all the books and things we have for sale, but also if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get a free ebook. So keep that in mind. All right, now let's get started with Reading the Riff, number 11. The song Crazy Train more or less launched Ozzy Osbourne's solo career. Before that, of course, he was with Black Sabbath. And so this really showed that, even without that band, just doing his own thing, he's still got it. He can make great music. And that whole album, The Blizzard of Oz, is probably one of the most famous rock albums of all time. Of course, that came out in 1980, but it wasn't released in the United States until the March of 81. And the song itself was written as kind of a collaboration among Ozzy Osbourne, of course, his guitar player, Randy Rhoads, who's one of the best rock guitar players of all time, and of course their bassist, Bob Daisley. So together, they put together an iconic rock song that we're going to talk about and play today. Now the main riff, the one you heard at the beginning of this video, was created or written by Randy Rhoads, but he got the idea from a conversation he had with a guitar player from Quiet Riot, a guy named Greg Leon. And Greg Leon basically said to him, hey, there's this Steve Miller riff, and if you speed it up like this, it sounds pretty cool. So Randy Rhoads took that idea, sped up the Steve Miller riff, added his own little flair to it, and the next thing you know, you have this amazing riff that is a big part of the song Crazy Train. Now, there are other parts to the song. It's not just this riff. You have the verse section, which has those really cool chords going throughout it, and the just little flourishes that Randy Rhoads includes throughout it that just make this song really come to life. In fact, many guitar students will play this song even if they've never really listened to much Ozzy or Black Sabbath before in their life. It's just a great guitar riff. All right, so the version that I've got here, we're actually going to start off with the bass part, because that part of the song, you don't really play it on guitar, obviously, but it sounds really cool. It just introduces the song and sets things up nicely for when the main riff does come in. So I like to kind of play it together, even though if you were performing it with the band, you wouldn't really do it this way. So the bass part I'm talking about goes like this. And then, of course, the main riff that we're going to get into comes in next. And so it really does work as a really nice setup. So just to go through it briefly, you start off last string, second fret. Then you have 3 beats of rest, followed by the 5th string open twice, last string open twice, back to that 2nd fret on the last string. And then, right before it repeats, you go to the 4th string open, back to the last string open, and then it just repeats again. Etc. All right, so now let's get to the riff itself. It's very similar to that opening part. So you start with your first finger on the last string, 2nd fret. So it's 2, 2. Next string, you use your 3rd finger to come up to the 4th fret. Go back to the 2nd fret on the last string. Then come up to the 5th fret on the 5th string. I use my pinky for that, then go back to that 2nd fret of the last string. Then you do the 4th fret again on the 5th string, back to the 2nd fret. So it's 2, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 4, 2. And so just by doing that over and over again, you'll really start to get a feel for that tune. Now, it's kind of important to use the right fingering because it's going to make it go a lot faster. If you try to use one finger, it's going to slow you down too much. You're not going to be able to play it right. So even though the pinky may not want to do what you tell it to yet, just keep working at it and it's going to happen and you'll be able to play that riff with ease eventually. All right, so that's measure one. So here's measure one of that riff all together. All right, the next measure, we have the second fret or the note B on the 5th string, open A, 4th, which is the G sharp on the last string, back to open A, and then we go to the 2nd fret again on the 5th string, open A, back to the G sharp, the 4th fret of the last string, and then open E, last string open. So again, second measure, 2, 0, 4 on the last string, open, 2, 0, 4 on the last string, open last string. All together. And then after that, it simply repeats that. It's the same thing in the next line of that PDF. All right, and that takes you to your first ending. So you play through that riff twice, and then it goes and repeats, but you only play it 1.5 times the second time. So here's what I mean. You play, which is the first 2 measures of the riff. You play the third measure, but then it ends with 2 open chords. You have a D major, and then an E major. And that ends the riff and it goes into the next part of the song. All right, so here's the whole riff put together. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that takes care of Crazy Train, at least the main riff. So I hope you enjoyed that video. It's a really fun riff to play. If you've never done it before, definitely download that PDF and just get to it, have fun with it. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you like, give the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate it when people do that. Also, don't forget about the free ebook that's on our website, themissingmethod.com. So until next time, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.